Hello, welcome or welcome back to another sit down video. I am so excited to be doing another one of these for you guys. We'll see how long this one's gonna be, but we're gonna crack open a little fridge sig. I felt compelled to talk to y'all about how I lost 25 pounds and was able to keep it off. Don't mind me moving my other fridge sig. This is probably gonna be one of the last times you guys see this background because we're about to be moving to North Carolina for a little bit. I'm about to become a little nomad for the next 3 or so months. If you're unaware, my husband is a Marine and we have gone from Virginia to California, back to North Carolina. I'm gonna be going up to Wisconsin and then California, all in the span of under 6 months, which is crazy. Today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about how I lost 25 pounds and how I was able to keep it off with ease. I am a fitness coach myself. I'm a bodybuilding and lifestyle coach, and I see, unfortunately, a lot of people buy into the quick fads, the trends and cycles of shedding off fat before summer and then regaining it in winter, and it's exhausting. I couldn't imagine, well, actually I can imagine because I've been there, being stuck in that cycle for years. So I wanted to give you guys 7 things that I suggest you try or take into consideration if you are on a fat loss journey. This is one thing that I want to reiterate, is that the reason that I've been able to keep 25 pounds off easily isn't because it's actually easy, but it's because I became somebody who enjoys living the lifestyle that produced those results. Let's move on to the 7 pointers. So number 1 is I hang out with fit people. I strongly believe that you are who you surround yourself with. If you're gonna hang around a bunch of lowlives who don't wanna do anything, sit around on their couch all day, genuinely watch TV, then you're probably gonna get sucked into that culture. What do those people do to hang out and have fun? They probably sit around, might play video games, mindlessly snack, and I don't wanna be around that. So I'm going to be with people who honor their fitness goals, and it's normal to do the things that we do. It's normal to weigh your food. It's normal to meal prep. It's normal to prefer your own food instead of going out. It's normal to say no and stay home. It's normal to hang out and go get coffee and go for a walk rather than going to drinks at a bar. Even for example of like some fun outings, I'll go line dancing at bars and my friends aren't getting drinks while we're there getting line dances. They don't feel a pressure from being at a bar to get a drink. If they get a drink, guess what? They're getting a fridge sig. Like, take into account the people that you surround yourself with, the people who are closest to you. I'm not saying that you can't be friends with certain types of people. I mean, that's even going against what we're called to do as Christians, right? What I am saying though is the people who are closest to you should be on the path that you are also on. I was actually talking about this with my husband's best friend, and my husband's best friend's father is very, very successful. And one thing that my husband's friend said, he was like, my dad taught me to be the dumbest in the room, meaning be in the rooms where you have lots of room to grow, where you are the little fish. I love that concept. And I even think about when I first moved from Wisconsin to Georgetown, Texas, I walked into the gym, House of Gains. Coming from my little small town, I was like the only bodybuilder, but when I walked into House of Gains, there was IFBB pros, there was Olympians at that gym, and I was like, little thing, but it pushed me and I loved it. Number 2 is one of my favorites that I wish I learned even sooner, is to go through seasons of unbalance to then earn the balance. So learning to make sacrifices for a season to be able to get to the other side. What do I mean by this? I thought, first of all, balance was a good thing, and it is a good thing, but we also need to define what balance is. But I want to give the example of even this prep. I have never been more satisfied with a prep or a fat loss phase in my entire life. It has changed the way that I view things. And the first part of my prep, so technically I've gone through 2 preps this year, but for my first prep, I was doing hours and hours of cardio, and I knew it was going to pay off in the end. Now on to my second prep. I've had 3 months between these shows, and I have barely done any cardio leading into the second show because I was able to maintain the results. I was eating more than I ever had. I was eating over 2,000 calories. For a small girl like myself, that is like wildly unheard of. And there was plenty of times where I would go a week without even lifting because of moving, like you guys heard about earlier. The work before is what was able to give me the balance that I was seeking for, but I had to be okay going through unbalanced seasons. Even with my clients during a fat loss phase, I encourage them, stick to your macros. That's why we love macros, because you can play around with them and get, funky with them. And after that phase, then we immediately jump you as close to maintenance at your new maintenance that we can possibly get, and we navigate the new maintenance, and that gives you a lot more room for flexibility. And then guess what? You're maintaining your fat loss, and if you do the maintenance correctly, you don't have to worry about regression of your progress. That point then floods into my third point, is that there is no maintenance and there is no finish line. What do I mean by that? Again, you have a fitness goal. Let's say you have a goal of losing 30 pounds, or in my situation, 25. You still have to do the things that you did to get to the 25 pounds lost in order to keep it off. Therefore, you're still working. You're not technically maintaining. You don't just get there and stop. The second you stop, the second you fall away. Think about it in your faith walk or your walk with God. You are either growing closer to Him or further away from Him. There is literally no in between. You are either reading this and getting to know Him every single day, or you are falling away. I hate to say it, but that's just the truth. There is this book called The Slight Edge. You guys should definitely look at it. And it talks about the hockey stick graph, aka like an exponential growth graph, where you are, I could probably put like an exponential growth graph here. So basically you either hockey stick up or you hockey stick down. So the decisions that you make over time are going to compound into something that is going to absolutely catapult you and launch you into the other direction. And making those decisions every single day is going to bring you more towards the upwards hockey stick or the downward hockey stick, which is being able to keep the slight edge. I highly suggest that you guys read that book. It does a way better job articulating that idea and applying it to everyday life. Point number 4 is taking the emotions out of it and sticking to the plan long enough and acknowledging that one day of data is simply not enough. I want to share this example because it sounds counterintuitive. I end up having my biggest body weight lows after days where I'm not doing any lifting or any cardio and I'm just doing steps, and when I'm relaxing the day before. You would think on the days where you're lifting really hard and you are doing loads of cardio and sweating a lot, that you'll have these big lows. And for some people that is true, but for me that is not. But if I were to just take into consideration that one day of data, right? Let's say that I did the lifting, I did the cardio, and then I have a weight spike the next day. Are you freaking kidding me? Instead of reacting and being emotional like I just was there, I stay the course, I follow the plan. And guess what? I follow the plan, I get to a rest day, and boom, big drop. I'm not going to go into the science about fatigue and everything and why that is and why that could potentially be happening if you're similar to me in that sense, but that's just a good example. Another example is when I'm working with a client that is in a fat loss phase or even a growth phase, I'm not going to determine the path that we're on based on one weigh-in. So I'm not going to look at their last Saturday's weigh-in and this Saturday's weigh-in. I'm going to look at the cumulative trend of the week. I'm going to average out the weight loss or weight gain or maintenance trend for their body weight to determine what direction we're going. And also considering other factors, which I don't need to go into the whole coaching gist as well, but there's so many things that could change body weight or whatever the data point is that day. There's lots of factors that could be in place. So take into consideration, follow the plan, and it helps having somebody guide you to stay the course and listen to you when you're having little crash outs, especially having a coach or even just like a friend or somebody who is going to truly keep you accountable, like not just a friend that's going to be your tentative accountability partner, but like genuinely somebody who is going to hold you accountable, which is usually a coach, whether that coach be me or somebody else. I highly suggest that you find somebody to help you in that sense. Point number 5 is to learn to set your floor. You have responsibilities, and just because you're not in routine doesn't mean that you shouldn't uphold those responsibilities. For example, if you go on vacation, you're getting thrown out of routine. Why would you not adhere to your responsibilities if you don't have a routine? It's easy to stay in routine, but a lot of people, especially those who deal with the all or nothing mindset, the biggest thing that I hear is one thing throws me off and I'm just off for the rest of the week. Those people struggle to acknowledge the responsibilities that they had made to themselves when they are out of routine. So I need you to ask yourself, even on the absolute worst days, what is the minimum commitment to yourself? What is the minimum standard? In, again, health and fitness terms, is it hitting X amount of steps, like 10,000 steps or 8,000 steps, whatever it is? Is it still getting X amount of time movement in, like 30 minutes outside? Is it hitting a certain protein goal? What is your absolute minimum baseline that you will accept for yourself when stuff hits the fan, essentially? Point number 6 is my favorite. I'm going to be expanding on this one in extreme depth here. So if I'm looking at my notes, that is why. You need to make the adverse of being unfit or staying where you are so absolutely painful that you cannot help but move away from it. Humans move toward pleasure or they move away from pain. Now, you can visualize the path that you'll be on or continue to be on if you don't make any changes or progress. You can compare it to your dream vision and getting extremely clear on who you want to become and kind of compare and contrast. So again, getting some sort of journal, this helps a lot, writing your stuff down so you can literally look and compare and contrast of like, oh, you know, this says that, that says that. These are helpful. Be intentional. You don't just want to float by in life. I hear too many people that are just floating by in life. Get one of these. Reeling it back in though, okay? Nobody can avoid pain entirely. You either pick pain today or you pick pain later. Usually the later option is harder and you're going to feel way more out of control with less options. Again, for example, if you choose not to focus on your fitness now, you are going to probably pay a lot of hospital bills down the line. You are going to be backed into a corner with no option but to have medical procedures be done or be diagnosed with diseases that are hard to overcome. And your family is also probably going to have to take care of you against their will because of your decisions that you made years and years ago that then got you to that position. Do you see why the pain later usually accumulates into something a lot bigger to tackle? I like to always say, catch the monster while it's little. Most people attach pain to the wrong things, that being associating pain with getting up early or tracking food or going to the gym, saying no to temptation, having hard conversations, delaying gratification, those things. But then they attach pleasure to sleeping in, staying comfortable, eating whatever sounds good, skipping workouts, starting when you feel ready, which is probably never gonna come, or on Monday. And some reframes that you can ask yourself is, instead of asking, why is doing blank so hard? Let's be honest, that's relative. But ask yourself, what is the cost if nothing changes? How is your health going to look in 5 years? What kind of example are you going to set for your future kids? How will your confidence feel? Will you still be avoiding photos or going out with your friends? Are you still going to feel uncomfortable in your skin? Are you still going to feel like you're floating by in life and not in alignment with your purpose or calling? Will you show up differently as a wife or a husband if there's dudes that watch this channel because you let yourself go and it affected your marriage? That last one low-key stings, y'all, but it's honestly the truth. I say this as a married woman myself, and I have a lot of conversations with my husband about that exact thing. Now, what you can do is make the vision literally irresistible. It is like there's so much pleasure attached to it. This takes a lot of visualization practice. For me, I usually would go into the sauna at my old gym and I would either pray or visualize. So these are just some examples of picturing yourself walking into a restaurant without immediately scanning the menu and having anxiety. You can imagine getting dressed in the first outfit that you found and you feel confident as freaking heck in that outfit. You can imagine your spouse giving you a hug and wrapping their arms around you. Instead of thinking, I hope they don't notice, or feeling insecure, you fully accept the love because you were a person of integrity and you did the things that you said you were gonna do. And therefore you feel so confident in who you are that you just are able to receive that love without second guessing it. You can imagine running around the backyard with your kids and being able to keep up with them. You can imagine having better energy around your future family rather than hitting that afternoon slump and then taking out your frustration on everybody, because the frustration from you not following through and being a person of integrity with yourself is then being projected onto the rest of your family. Your children can grow up and see a mom or dad that followed through on doing hard things and was like a super mom or a super dad, and you are the parent that all the kids talk about just being a total freaking badass, excuse my French, you can picture yourself becoming the friend that your friends look to when they're wanting to start their own health and wellness journey because you were dependable. Do you see how those things can become an irresistible type of vision that you create for yourself? There's so much pleasure that is attached to them. Again, on the flip side though, you need to learn how to attach so much pain that it literally disgusts you to continue down the path that you are currently on. And number 7, also one of my favorite points, is that I stopped trying to lose weight. So what do I mean by that? I stopped becoming so hyperfixated on the outcome, and I reframed my approach to being hyperfixated on falling in love with the journey. So I listened to my convictions. I asked myself how I can honor my body. How can I steward it well? How can I treat myself with respect? How will certain foods make me feel after eating them? Would it be worth it to be able to have certain indulgences? I think you should still have ice cream out with loved ones and have a sweet treat, but consider, how will you feel after consuming it? Is it worth making the memories for you? Or is it something that, you can still be a part of the memories, but maybe just eating that isn't going to make you feel all that good, and then you're going to be kicking yourself. I became very convicted on what I wanted and who I am. I'm a woman that listens to her convictions. I'm a woman of integrity, somebody who keeps their word. And again, I fell in love with the process. I learned to love hiking. I learned to love grocery shopping and going around the store. I love cooking, walks, reading, recovery, trying fun new little coffee recipes at different coffee shops with different parameters, which I have a free guide if you guys want that. The results followed that. It reminds me of surrender. When you're in your faith journey, it's like so much changes when you finally just open up your hands fully and allow God to fully take over your life in literally every capacity. That's what I think about. Same thing with your fitness journey. When you are so not hyperfixated on these results, they just come because you learn to find joy in the process and journey. Allow God to enter into that. It's hard for me to not bring my spiritual fitness into this conversation because I believe that fitness is a ministry, at least for myself. And I talk to my husband about this all the time. And this is a side tangent. My husband is a Marine again, and he uses the Marines as his mission field. I use the fitness industry as my mission field because I've been on the side where I was not honoring the Lord at all. It was very hyperfixated on, why can I not lose weight? Why am I so stuck? Why does this person have that, but I don't have this? And it became, how can I honor God through this? It wasn't until this year where I felt the conviction so strongly, especially about this bodybuilding prep, to not post about it, to not seek out validation from other people. I was doing this because I felt like, one, it was going to be a challenge and I was going to be sanctified through the process, which I absolutely was, because yes, these things are hard, and I was able to depend on the Lord more than I ever have in my entire life, and therefore grow my relationship with Him. And by growing my relationship and spiritual fitness, my physical fitness then followed as well. I know that this was a longer video, but I do enjoy doing these little sit down conversations. I also have a podcast. If you are unaware, it is called The Purpose Podcast on Spotify. I upload to it every single Monday. I post all about fitness, spirituality, mindset, business, even relationships, all the things. I appreciate you guys so much. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If you have any other video requests, please make sure to comment them below or even DM me on Instagram, where I am the most active. But I will continue uploading all my vlogs like I always do. I try to post at least minimum once a week on YouTube because this is my absolute passion project. But if you're looking for coaching or even just like individualized guidance, there is a link for you down below that you can fill out to apply to work with the Achieve It team and see if you would be a good fit. But that is all that I have for you guys today. I pray that you found value from this. And again, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to it. But I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next video.